So unfortunately, all of that is lost. So these cards right here, I complained about them yesterday evening. That's all because of those cards. Because on here are just 25 euros. That's the amount of drinks we can have every night we're DJing there. The DJing was a whole lot of fun, but yesterday I complained about it because I wanted to drink more. Because yeah, I don't know, it's part of DJing a little bit and makes fun every once in a while if you don't exaggerate it. But then again, me, free drinks, I tend to exaggerate. So the next day I'm actually happy about those cards. They prevent us from just drinking way too much, and the hangover today is a lot softer. Almost like no hangover. But despite almost no hangover, I'm still extremely tired. I came back 8 in the morning and at 10 someone called me. It was an important phone call, so I had to take it. It has to do with me trying to find a new studio place. I got an appointment for, I think, in 3 days. And then you know how it is. Once you're up, you just can't sleep. But hey, at least the sun is shining. Over 21 degrees, that's rare for this time around of the year, so I just had to go outside, even if it's just for the next edition of Hangover Story Time. Quick change of plans. Vanessa called me, she got us really healthy dinner, so the Hangover Story Time has to wait just a tiny bit. So yeah, an entire chicken, definitely the perfect choice for the weather today. Oh, and an entire bag of French fries. Okay, so today's story is actually my origins part 2. I already made another video back in Miami like half a year ago with my grandmother, so it was my mother's side. My grandma is from Persia. My grandfather on my mother's side from Baku. And the other side, my dad, he's from the former East German part. And as you know, a week ago where I was on vacations, we visited my grandparents there. To be more precise, my grandfather and my grandmother unfortunately died, I think just like a month before, or less than a month before I was born. I think my dad was at his mom's funeral and rushed from there to the hospital where I was born. So I unfortunately never got to see her. My grandfather married another woman, and for me she feels like my grandma. And I think like all of my music, or my music connection and like the first times where I used a keyboard or an instrument actually comes from her. She's the only one in the family that plays an instrument. She's almost 90, I think 89. And she still rides the bicycle, drives the car, and is playing the organ 3 times a week in a church. So she's very musically skilled, used to be a teacher. And my grandfather, he was in biology and chemistry. He made, they basically extracted certain things out of certain things. I don't know how to explain it, but I think like insulin out of animal parts back then. I think now you just produce them synthetically with bacteria. So all of my connection to technical things, everything that has to do with computers, everything that has to do with filming, I think I got from him. He's the only one in our family that is a true tech nerd. Even today, he still buys really techy, nerdy stuff in his high age, using WhatsApp, has his mobile phone, is a lot on the internet, doing research and just enjoying his retirement. He had the very first mobile computer back then, a mobile computer with MS-DOS still on it. He knows everything about MS-DOS. I think you could call him an expert. He can still do every single task on his old machine. It's very fascinating. And he also had the first Sony camcorder I ever saw. He recorded every vacation of his. So I basically got the tech, nerdy and music stuff from my father's side, and from my mom's side, the look and probably the being self-employed, because both of my uncles, everyone on my mom's side, never had a boss in their entire life. And as you know, I already told you both of my parents are artists. This right here is one of my dad's paintings, and I already showed you my mom's stuff plenty of times. So that's where I got my creativity from, and also learning how to deal with being self-employed, because I know it since I'm a little kid that it's not easy, and maybe some techniques, how to survive and how to make money when it's urgent, and how to survive with less money. It's really not easy in creative fields. What's also really interesting on my dad's side, if you go back one generation, they used to be kind of famous within their area. They had a big factory for pottery, like for everything you needed back then to cook. I think with like 50, maybe 100 employees, so they got pretty rich, not like stupid, super rich, but rich enough to buy the first cars, to have a big house, a lot of employees. And unfortunately, then in the former Republic of Germany, it was stolen from them, taken away. It was first half state-owned, then fully state-owned, and they lost everything just because the state took it, and they never got refunded in any way. So unfortunately, all of that is lost. But you can still go to Kamenz, that's the city where they were located, and go into the museum and see the pottery stuff, and there's my last name on it, that it was made by my great-grandparents. And I think doing pottery is also a very, very satisfying job. I just love these jobs where you do something creative and you make something. At the end of the day, you have something that you can hold or listen to or show someone, something that stays and stays maybe even longer than yourself. I think that's, I don't know, it is very satisfying. I could never work at a job where you just make something that isn't sustainable, that doesn't stay, that doesn't have any substance, or even worse, doing like Sisyphus work where you just do something every day the same and it doesn't change anything. And on our vacations, I didn't even show it to you, we were at Meissen. That's like the porcelain manufacturing company, the most famous one in Europe, the biggest one, the first that outside of China made porcelain, and it looks so amazing, very detailed. Anyways, I think it's really interesting to know where you're coming from and how you're like a combination of two things that can be so different and still make up you, and hopefully make you the better version of everyone else that you got combined of. So yeah, let me know about your family. Is there anything interesting in there? Anyone creative? Where do you think you got your creativity from and your urge to make music and to produce something and be creative? In my family, it's actually a lot. Like everyone is self-employed. Everyone did something creative at least at one point in their life. So I'm proud to be part of those two families. Yeah, and now since I'm kind of jet-lagged, I think I will go out and just have maybe one beer and then sleep a lot. Baby, don't get too... Ooh, I almost forgot. I will give away 20 more spots on the John Sine Discord server that is fairly new. Just click on the link in the comments, the first one, and the first 20 that click on it get access to that app. I'm gonna break your heart into 1,000 tiny pieces just for fun. Don't get too close.